Chapter 9 to 10. General POV. Time skip 1.5 years. MC's age 5.5. On the eastern side of the Shandia village, Amon came out from a tent slightly bigger than the normal ones. Soon, a short and fat man also came out of the tent, just behind Amon. He had a pretty heavy-looking basket covered with a curtain in his hands too. "Hey Amon, do me a favor and give this to Isa." "Alright?" the fat guy Bob asked. Amon responded with a fake playful smile. "Oh, what is this? Is this what the adults call love? You are even giving your own food for Isa now." Bob blushed hearing him and scratched his head. Wait, no. You are just a kid. You aren't supposed to ask something like that. And, no, I'm not giving her all my food. You see, I got a bonus this month from the chief. I exchanged some goodies with that, so I thought, why not share it with Isa?" Amon took the basket from his hands and said, "Alright, I'll give it to her. Maybe, I can even say a few good words to her about you." Should I?" Bob's eyes grew for a second as he replied quickly, "Huh? Really? Then I'll give you my special shooter's weight." "No, it's not that I want you to do something for Dash." Amon interrupted him, as he said, Hey, calm down. A little help won't do any bad. You see, everything is fair in love and war." Amon showed off his biceps as he said this. Then he prepared to walk away. "Anyway, I'll be going now. See you." Saying this, he started to walk towards the western part of the village, where his and Isa's house is located. After a few minutes of walking, Amon reached his house. He sneakily went inside, evading people using his observation hockey. After that, he sat down on his bed. Using observation hockey at full capacity, Amon confirmed that there wasn't anyone around here. Then, he slowly removed the curtain from the basket, as his eyes shined. Damn, look at this. It's fresh carrots and apples. What did he exchange to get this? By food, Shandian people only knew seafoods, since even though there are a few trees inside their dome, fruits grow on those trees rarely. The only ways to get fruits are raiders retrieving them from pirate ships or the upper yard. Since the village doesn't have any currency, they live by exchanging goods for other goods. Like ancient times in Amon's previous world. Amon chuckled like a child seeing the fruits in front of him. What a simp lord. He must have exchanged some good dials. That's a big waste. I had my eyes out for a few of his special dials, but Amon picked an apple from the lunchbox. It's not that bad. After all, something good happened to me for his stupid action. These fruits, full of nutrition. These are mine now. Amon then started to eat the fruits. As soon as the fruits in the basket started to dwindle, as he kept doing just that until only 2/10 of the original fruits were left. Waiting for a few minutes, Amon got up from his seat and walked out of the hut with the curtain-covered basket, going towards Isa's tent just beside his house. After turning right after leaving his hut, Amon faced a tent, slightly bigger than Bob's tent. Amon, after confirming Isa's presence with observation hockey, went inside. Noticing the small figure entering her tent, Isa, who was sitting on the bed, looked towards him. Seeing Amon, she smiled kindly as she said, "Why are you here? Anything I can help with?" Amon just went towards her and also sat down on the bed. He placed the basket on the bed as he looked at Isa. "It feels good to be beautiful, right? Always receiving gifts from the other tribesmen," Amon said with the fake tone of tease in it. My, are you jealous? Unfortunately, you aren't a girl, or I'm sure with your face, many boys would have been after you already." She then looked at the basket beside her. "Anyway, who is it this time? And what's inside?" "It was Bob. He is nice enough to give you these lots of fruits," Amon said, pointing at the basket. Isa's blinked in surprise. "Fruit? That's rare." She thought as she picked up the basket. It was not that heavy, but from the weight, she could tell there were quite a few left. She took off the cover from the basket and became surprised again. That's quite a lot." Amon glanced from the side as if he's holding himself back from not eating those. Isa noticed this and smiled lightly. He trains too much for a kid, however that look, he is a kid after all. Unfortunately for Isa, this was all an act. Amon has already adapted to acting like a kid, so doing these small acts to trick the adults is nothing new to him. Isa hid the basket behind her, as she looked at Amon. "What are you looking at? Those are mine." Amon pretended to be unhappy as he frowned, getting up from the bed preparing to leave. "What? I never wanted those anyway. I'll go now. Bye." Acting grumpy, Amon prepared to leave. But suddenly, Isa caught him from behind and picked him up in her embrace. Ha, look at you. I was joking. I won't be able to get sleep at night if you go away like this." Isa wiped her imaginary tears saying this. Amon didn't say anything, as Isa lowered him on the ground. She then went towards the basket and took half of the fruit from it. Placing them in a small bag, she came towards Amon. Here, take this. Eat all you want. Don't forget to share them with Riki. I won't share any more of mine. Amon smiled, receiving the fruits. He then jumped up and kissed Isa's cheeks. Soon, he ran out of the tent towards his hut. Isa sighed with a happy smile as she saw him walk away. He is such an innocent child. Amon felt a little attached to Isa, but that wasn't enough for him to sacrifice a source of nutrition. A few hours later, nighttime, Amon was sitting in his room on top of his bed in a lotus position, similar to those cultivators from wuxia novels. Seated like that, Amon was breathing rhythmically. His body was comfortable, he wasn't even moving an inch. If anyone saw him now, they would assume he has fallen asleep. He soon opened his eyes, proving that he wasn't sleeping. His red eyes seemingly gleamed for a second, as he suddenly frowned hard. He rendered his strength and let it surge throughout his whole body. Amon held his breath as his muscles tightened slowly. Soon, he bulked up to almost 2x of his actual body size. Amon then tried to circulate his strength to his back, the unmovable part of his body, his wings. Saimai Kikken. Life return. He was trying to use Saimai Kikken, a technique that can supposedly let one control their whole body functions by their will. Bah! However, the next moment he spat some saliva and fell on the cloud floor face first, creating a thud sound. Now, unlike his calm demeanor a second ago, he was sweating profusely while huffing a lot. Huff! Damn it! Why doesn't it work? Amon was trying to perform Saimai Kikken, the technique that allows the user to control all of their bodily functions. Amon knew if he were able to learn this technique, he should be able to move his wings. He wasn't sure if he would succeed at this, since not much was explained about Saimai Kikken in anime/manga. And for someone like Amon whose complete knowledge comes from the show, he didn't have enough points to work on. Also, due to the fact that this technique didn't have many users, the only shown users being Rob Lucci and Kumadori, Amon's chance for mastering this technique would be even lower. However, those thoughts were getting him nowhere. He thought after getting nutrition from the fresh fruits he might succeed. However, it seems all that nutrition has gone to waste. Amon felt disheartened for a while, but he soon got out of it. After regaining his composure, Amon sat up and sighed. Saimai Kikken, if I succeed, I will definitely be able to move my wings, but it's very hard. When I was 7 months old, after filling my tummy, I tried to practice Saimai Kikken and digest the food, but not only did I fail, I almost died choking on my own vomit. Amon let his thoughts wander as he rested for a while. Only now, after 5 years, I have enough courage to try this shit again. But no matter how hard I try, nothing seems to be working. I recall it had something to do with being a hermit. But that's not completely true, as Rob Lucci was able to perform that technique. I'm sure someone like him isn't a hermit, but if I fail to do this, it's not like there aren't any other ways. Amon thought as he remembered Chopper's words when he first saw Saimai Kikken in action. Amon then continued his thoughts. According to Chopper, a technique named biofeedback exists which is very similar to Saimai Kikken. So, for now, I will keep training on Saimai Kikken, but if I don't progress even a little after a few months, I won't waste my time on this thing anymore. Amon then sighed and closed his eyes. A few minutes passed like that, as Amon released a long breath and got up from his lying position. He stood up while stretching. As he said, "Well, time to sleep. I'm tired." After gurgling his mouth with water, Amon walked to his bed. He also checked the surrounding area with observation hockey sleeping. You are never too careful. General POV. 1 year later, MC's age, 6.5. Outside the chief's house, just located in the middle of the village, a few kids around 6 were sitting in a circle around the chief. They were listening to the stories from 800 years ago. The chief was sitting on a stool and held the iconic chieftain staff, as he said, "In the Great War 800 years ago, the warriors of Shandora won the battle, but we lost many great warriors in the process. The survivors decided they will quietly guard the city and the Poneglyph. That was the will of our ancestors." As he told the story, the kids started to react. "And then, for 100 years ago, the island ascended to the sky," Kamakiri said in an agitated voice. "Then, the people living here stole it," Graham said in a calm voice while playing with his pistol. "So the land our ancestors tried hard to protect," Wiper said, "was brutally taken away." Ganbwa, the fattest kid in the tribe, finished Wiper's line. Hearing the chief's words, each of the kids' reactions varied. However, besides them, the black-haired boy sitting comfortably didn't show any particular interest in the story. As he asked nonchalantly, "So, Gramps Chief, do you know why the war started? I mean, if our ancestors gave their honorable life for something, shouldn't we know something this important?" The black-haired boy, Amon asked. The chief smiled, hearing him. "You are right. We should definitely know why our great ancestors gave away their lives. However, unfortunately, the survivors from 800 years ago didn't want any information on the Great War to be known to future generations, so they restrained the information. But if we ever get our land back, you might find your answer in the ruins. Who knows? Ha ha ha. Saying this, the chief released a hearty laugh. Amon frowned hearing him. As he started to ponder, I already know these useless stories from manga. Doesn't this old bastard know anything useful? Ugh. So frustrating. Amon sighed internally. He then decided to try the last time as he asked, Hey, but shouldn't you even have a small amount of information beside this? The chief made a thinking posture hearing him. Well, from the information the previous chief passed to me, 800 years ago, the cause for the death of our great warriors was the war between the Great Kingdom and the 20 alliance counties. In the end, the 20 counties won. I think now they are known as something called World Government. Amon again sighed internally hearing him. It seems he really doesn't know anything outside the things he said already. Beside him, Wiper scowled and said, Why do you want to learn about the history of 800 years ago anyway? Do you want to recreate that war? Amon laughed hearing him and threw his arms around his shoulder as if they were long-lost buddies. Oh, 'cause you are so naive. I'm learning these to stop something like that from happening ever again. Ha ha ha, but don't worry even though you are naive. As your big brother, I will show you the way. Ha ha ha. Wiper just gritted his teeth in frustration. He doesn't have enough strength to remove Amon's hands from his shoulders, and if he tries the hard way, he will instead get beaten. 6 months later, MC's age 7. 498. 499. 500. Amon was doing his daily push-ups. Finally done, as he finally completed the daily routine. However, he didn't stop there. Instead, well, let's see how far I can go. Saying this, he started to do push-ups again. Even though he already finished his workout according to the routine, he decided to go beyond it to see how long he can last. His previous workout has been updated to 1,000 push-ups, 1,000 sit-ups, 1,000 squats, and 30 kilometers run, since there isn't much area to run around. Already finishing all the other workouts of the day, he was only left with the 30 kilometers run, along with these free extra push-ups. A few minutes passed as Amon was still pushing his body to the extreme. 1559, 1560, 1561. This my current limit. Saying this, Amon fell on his face, but he flipped his body and fell on his back instead. Poof, the cloud bounced as Amon fell on top. Looks like I need to update my workout again. Exhausted, he kept taking deep breaths to calm his body while lying on the ground. He was looking at the ceiling of the hut. Even though his body was resting, his mind was not. He was thinking like always. I've been living here for roughly 7 years now. I'm pretty used to this life now. In those 7 years, I've influenced the Shandia people a lot with my presence here. Fortunately, this village is isolated from the rest of the world, or else I can't imagine how immense the butterfly effect would be. Well, if that happened, I would just have to grow strong enough to not let the butterfly affect me. Anyway, for now, I have decided to get a trusted person under me. Obviously, when I become the leader, everyone will be under my complete ruling anyway, so there might not be any point in doing this. But, since I don't want to be stuck on this tribe, and surely have to go out to the Blue Sea in the future, I would need a pawn to keep the tribe on the lookout for me. I've been giving my valuable time in this tribe after all. If they suddenly go out of my control or gets destroyed by someone/something, then the whole ordeal of creating a country that can match WG would be pointless. Since, in the end, the tribe is just a facade. The thing I care about the most is absolute power. In the first place, I never dreamed of creating a country of some sort. This will just be my backup. This will be Amon's weak point to the outside world in the future. But that doesn't mean I won't take in the people with potential living in here. How nice it would have been if I had a person of this tribe under me, who would even massacre the whole tribe if I ordered from the other side of the world. Amon thought, but soon he sighed. However, this tribe's people are too much attached to each other. Unless it's someone who I was able to influence from their birth, it will be pretty much impossible. Amon then closed his eyes and thought, it would have been awesome to have someone like Korizumi Kinjuro under my command. He then released a hearty chuckle. Such a masterpiece that guy is. He is supposed to be heartless, an actor only acting for the audience. Fortunately, I'm not like him, or it would have been such a tragedy. Amon slowly shook his head while grinning. Anyway, in this world, it is hard to find someone like Kinjuro, let alone inside this small tribe. But in reality, if I had someone like him around me, I would kill him the moment I got a chance. That type of guy is too dangerous. But in the end, the Shandians have always lived to sacrifice themselves for the sake of the tribe. Anyway, so, I don't need to think too much about this anyway. This will come to me for free. Amon thought as he reached out his hand to grab his water jar, then drinking it with a few rapid gulps. At first, when Amon just found out that he's in the One Piece world, he wanted to grow up a little and then leave the sky for the Blue Sea. traveling the world and living like Hawkeye's Mihawk does, alone on his own. Unfortunately, something that easygoing isn't for someone like Amon. He knew that he would definitely hit a block if he's alone. Splash. Amon splashed some of the jar's water on his face to cool down. Since I don't want a literal heartless guy beside me, I would at least need someone close to that, or rather, someone who is completely opposite to that. And luckily, in this tribe, the latter is easier to find. I have been keeping an eye out for people with too much emotions, like Wiper and Riki for example. One who hates me and one who loves me. They are the ones who exhibit the most emotions towards me, in this tribe. Obviously, I don't care if the too emotional person is an evil girl or an innocent boy. The only requirement is them being overly emotional towards me. Doesn't matter if it's hate or love. After they meet the requirements, making them loyal would be up to me and me only. Thinking such, he jabbed his right hand inside the cloud ground and pulled out a small chunk of the cloud, as the sunken part in the ground soon got filled. Ignoring that, Amon started to alter the round chunk of cloud, crafting a small human figurine. The figurine looked strange since Amon didn't care to make it look perfect. But if any tribesmen saw this, they would easily recognize the chunk as the promising newbie warrior Wiper. Looking at the Kud doll, he started to contemplate. The primary candidate is definitely Riki. I mean, in the last 7 years she is the one I've influenced the most. But unfortunately, this shitty tribe looks down on women and would never accept her as my temporary substitute. She can be my personal informant instead. Anyway, after Riki, the most perfect candidate would be obviously Wiper. Let me arrange his data in my mind. Name Wiper. Age 7. Birthday August 18. Description. He is Wiper, son of Viper and my cousin. Just like mine, his mother also died when giving birth to him. His father, Viper, is currently the leader of Shandia warriors. Reason for being a candidate, he is the descendant of Kalgera. Also, he is the strongest 7 years old after me. In anime, he became strong enough to become the leader of Shandia warriors. Overall reason. If nurtured correctly, he has great potential to grow. Relationship with me, bad. I'm possibly the most hated person to him. Reason being me beating him. Beating him whenever I want. In the name of a duel between two rivals, I beat him thoroughly. The reason isn't something stupid like he is Viper's son, so he is my enemy. He needs to die. That type of thought is just stupid and would only hinder my mental growth. I was stupid enough to think like that in my previous life. How sad. Anyway, the actual reason is quite simple. His personality is, very similar to Bakugo from MHA. Acting nice with him won't get me anywhere. If they do, I will transform the source to whatever I want. To make a guy like him loyal to me, I would need to act in the strangest way. For now, he can play the grumpy role. Conclusion, failure, for now. Can't make someone who hates me, my most trusted person to the outside eyes. But in another few years, the failure condition will change. Well, he is already changing. He has already understood that there is no use competing with me. Now he doesn't even want to duel with me. Previously, I used to hold back a lot since if I show too much power ahead of my age, the bastard Viper might do something shit again. But now, though I will receive some casualties most likely, I can most likely defeat Viper too. He then closed his eyes, trying to practice Same Kicken, life return. He still couldn't understand anything about Same Kicken. Well, I may be wrong, but I think I'm getting somewhere. Then, going to the corner of his room, he took out the shooters, special dials used for skating in the cloud. Since he's been working with Bob, the dial man, for 3 years now, he's learned how to create dials himself. I'll soon be able to create new types of dials never seen before.